Y'all, Dexter Morgan is back with us again. We're going to talk about a review of episode 1 and 2. The beginning will be spoiler free, and then we'll just freely talk about it after that, and I'll make it very obvious. So let's go ahead and get into it. There's going to be a couple of different versions of this review because literally even the basics that I'm going to talk about will spoil stuff for you. So I will just say this, and there's two ways to say it. If you want to just be completely surprised by this, do not listen to any of this review and then come back after you've watched it to talk about it. If you want a little bit of like, okay, what's kind of going on here, and then I'll go watch it. So, but if you're just like, no, Paul, should I check it out or not? 100%, right? If you're a Dexter fan, you're going to want to watch it. So just go ahead and like take my word that it's worth watching and getting into, at least on episode 1 and 2. So there's a completely spoiler free review. Now we're going to go into we're going to talk in general about it, but just know that there's no way to really even talk about it basically without spoiling stuff. And then we'll go into the straight up spoiler thing. So, okay, we're entering into the general kind of spoiler free type thing about it. So, Dexter Resurrection, okay? Long time coming, I guess you could say. If you remember the last episode where we left off in the last one, so this is major spoiler alert if you haven't watched the one before this. You know what happens between Dexter and his son, and we all think that Dexter is gone and that he's not coming back. Well, here we open up with this one, okay? So if we see Dexter, right? Now he is obviously going to come back to life in this one, and he wouldn't be here. Now he is dealing with some serious emotions about the whole situation that took place with, you know, his son and all of this kind of stuff, right? Now we see some, let's just say, ghost of Christmas past coming back to visit him, right? Now one of these will be not so much a ghost, but someone from the past. And it's just like, whoa, and this kind of sets everything off. The one different thing that's going on here is that Dexter has like a mission in this, and it involves his son that he wants to get to, okay? So now by doing this, also remember, the son has, you know, gone off and done his own little thing or whatever, so we have to find the son, which in essence puts us into a new setting. We're going to be going to the big city, right? I love the Snowy Woods aspect of last season. We'll see about this season with the city aspect to it. So let's talk about that's your general synopsis, right? I mean, I only know the first 2 episodes, right? They definitely established, like, this is what we're going to be doing. This is going to be the first, like, person that we're after, and the motivations and all that type of stuff there. The Dexter formula is there, okay? So now some of the strengths that are going on in this for me, so let's just talk about Michael C. Hall, obviously, who plays Dexter, okay? Does he still kind of have that charm? Does he still have that thing about him that makes us say, are we crushing on a serial killer, right? Yeah, it's there, right? His narration style for me absolutely pulls me into the show, okay? Now, some of the cameos that we're going to see in this, I won't go into the details of them, but you will see some cameos in the first, you know, episode, well, the first couple or whatever, especially the first part. It's absolutely like, oh my gosh, right? It's like going, well, I'll just say that. That part is amazing. I love that dynamic to it, okay? Now, as far as the atmosphere goes, right? Remember, we're talking about big city. We're talking about major tension. We're talking about all this type of stuff. I mean, literally the first 2 episodes, you were like, whoa, we are immediately going down the roller coaster hill and many loops, like, oh my God, here we go. Now, also, we're seeing a new element to Dexter. That the verdict's out on that for me to see if we like this part of him. And I'm not going to talk about what it is in case you haven't seen it, but we're seeing a different layer to Dexter, which I do think is necessary in a character arc for a show that's gone on and keeps going and keeps going and keeps going like this, and like bringing it back and bringing it back. You're going to have to see some form of an arc in a person, but will it, you know, have long lasting? Will it make us still like Dexter in the way that we do? We'll see. Okay, now let's talk about some of the weaknesses before we get into total spoiler alerts, okay? The whole thing about the whole premise of it, right, of bringing him back, there is a level to me where I'm just like, I mean, this is almost like an Annie Wilkes Misery, where she's talking about the picture shows and she's like, you cheated. A little bit it feels like that to me, but again, because I want Dexter back, I'm okay with it, right? But it was a little bit of like, okay, we had to find a way to bring this back. We thought that was gonna be the final thing, right? Okay, now, there is a little bit of soap opera energy in some of the dialogue with some of the characters. we're gonna meet like new supporting characters, cast, all this kind of stuff. And some of them, it feels a little bit like, hi, I'm the new, police person. What's going on? Let me throw a few cliches out there. It feels a little bit weak on there, right? And so I want to see how that sticks. Overall, it kind of feels like they're needing to almost like replace how would you say it? Some of the key players in the roles that they played. So they're needing to come up with new people for that. And it's like, you can't really replace those people. So that part feels a little bit weak. Now that's where we're going to leave it off for the spoiler free, that kind of a thing, right? So yeah, 10 out of 10, do it again. But there are some things that I'm like, let's see where this goes, but I'm invested, okay? Let's talk about, we're gonna get into spoilers now. So if you do not want to know any of this part, do not listen to this. I will count to 3 and we will officially be in mega spoiler zone, okay? So 1, 2, 3. Okay, we are in absolutely, we're gonna talk about this very freely now, okay? So just know if you haven't watched this, I am going to be ruining the 2 episodes for you. Okay, and what we're gonna do is talk about the big plot points, right? Okay, so episode 1 is called A Beating Heart. So Dexter wakes up from his coma like 10 weeks later after he was allegedly killed, right? And he's getting haunted by these ghostly visions. So think the Trinity Killer, Harry LaGuardia, Miguel, like all these people from his past are coming back that he killed and whatnot and having these conversations with him, okay? So during these conversations, he decides that it's like, he needs to save Harrison, his son. And at the same time, we're seeing Harrison in New York playing out the scene. And that's the city they're in, is New York. So we're seeing Dexter have this turn, like this, he's becoming more human, right? In that way, okay? Now, like I said, Harrison is up in New York. He's working at a hotel and he runs into the situation with a predator and he just straight up kills this dude. And he's going based on the lessons that his dad taught him, right? And he's like, okay, what's going on? Now, in the meantime, one of the guys from the beginning, from Harrison's past, has come back. So he is there, and he basically is like catching on. The vibe he's giving is that he's like, yeah, I think that actually Dexter was the serial killer. And so Dexter has to flee the hospital and escape him. And so now Dexter's essentially on the run, if you will. Now, he didn't call him out like that, but you could tell he was like, there's something going on here with this. So now Dexter feels more like a fugitive and that his secret has been outed, and like, how could he ever get out of this type thing because the police are clearly onto him? Well, he's done it before, but there's that. So Dexter's off and running the whole 9 yards. Okay, so then we get into episode 2, and it's called Camera Shy. So like I said, Dexter gets out, he figures out, a way to where Harrison is at, okay? He gets to the hotel, he sees the messy crime scene, his son left, he cleans it up. Now, then we are being introduced to the potential new serial killer of the show, and that Dexter's going to be chasing down, and it's this dude who basically gets in taxi cabs and kills the drivers, or lifts, or whatever you want to call it, right? So Dexter befriends one of the dudes, but also at a certain situation, we see this new side to Dexter where instead of going after a serial killer, he does something to save someone's life, and so that's like more important to him, right? So this guy, the serial killer, he lures the victims. He does the whole 9 yards. All the trappings are there, okay? Now, the way that we see this take place is the formula that we're used to and accustomed to seeing in Dexter shows. It feels out of place because it's in a different place and the circumstances are different. We no longer have someone like Dexter working for the police, department, behind the scenes doing all this stuff. It does feel more like, okay, things are getting out of control. Things are getting out of control. So let's just kind of wind it down with just a few little final verdict type stuff, right? So it doesn't feel completely perfect. It's not a train wreck, okay? It has the gritty, the emotional, it has that old school Dexter tension going. It kept me watching. I ripped through it. I'm going to say, does it get a slice by slice? Yeah, it gets all of those right now for nostalgia reasons. Did it make me put my phone down? Absolutely, yes. So right now I am cautiously optimistic, okay? I'm ready to see this go off the rails and like, is this the one that they just needed to let it end where it ended? And that's where my thoughts are right now. Because like I'm seeing some of the flimsiness of the supporting cast, seeing the same old, you know, okay, we have to have him, the vigilante type thing going on, but it feels different because now he's becoming more human and he's actually having feelings and caring and things of this nature. So it feels like Dexter, as we knew, is there, but different. And it's a matter of, does that difference stick with us? You know, is it going to propel it into a new thing? Or are we setting things up to try and have his son take over and all that kind of stuff? Dexter is Dexter. Michael C. Hall, he was made for this character, so I don't think you could replace that. I don't think you could do another show. Now, maybe you could do a spinoff, right? But I think that Dexter would always need to be Dexter. And for me, so far, I'm just like, okay, I'm into it, whatever. But definitely there is a level of like, this could be the one, but I'm going to watch it all the way through no matter what, right? It would be the next thing that they bring up after this that could be the last one wasn't so, you see where I'm going with this? But so far, absolutely love it and want to know what you think down in the comment section below. So let me know what you think. Try not to spoiler alert stuff or whatever in case people like read the comments and whatnot. And that's it. We'll follow this as much as possible and talk about it because hardcore Dexter fan here. Absolutely have loved this series and every bit of it. And I even like the prequel series. They are just as amazing. So I really have high hopes for this one. So that is it. Until we meet up next time, I will see you around the old proverbial TV.